Today we have a look at soaring insurance rates, shootings on a bus, a volcanic eruption, and much more.
We have today's weather forecast with Ben and a look at sports with Eli.
Today is National Women's Physicians Day, Thursday, February 3rd, 2022.
We are live from the illustrious Studio H12 on the campus of Bradley Central High School, and you are watching VOX News Today.
Welcome back. I'm Madison Johnston.
And I am Amber Filial.
At least one person is dead and several are injured after a shooting on Greyhound bus in Northern California. The Oroville Police Department says the violence happened Wednesday evening. First responders pronounced one person dead on the scene. They transported others with gunshot wounds to the hospital. The suspect fled, but police managed to apprehend the person at a nearby Walmart.
You might want to thank female doctors in your life. It's National Women's Physicians Day. February 3rd marks the birthday of Dr. Elizabeth Blackwell, the first woman to earn a medical degree in the United States in 1849. Statistics show female doctors gradually increased in the last 2 decades. 35% of physicians are women, and like their male counterparts, the past 2 years have been challenging due to the pandemic. While National Women's Physicians Day recognizes the female doctors who have paved the way for others, it also calls on more progress to be made. The communities all over the country asked to use the hashtags #IamBlackwell, Women Docs Inspire, and NWPD to celebrate the day.
Unvaccinated people are 97% more likely to die from COVID-19 than those who are fully vaccinated and boosted. That's according to new information from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. CDC Director Dr. Rachel Walensky presented data Wednesday at the White House COVID-19 response team meeting. The findings are based off of information collected in early December. Walensky also says 54% of people hospitalized for COVID over the age of 65 are unvaccinated. That's despite data showing just 12% of Americans in the age group who are unvaccinated.
China's Olympic COVID bubble is being put to the test as cases mount just days before the Olympic torch is lit in Beijing. As people in Beijing celebrate the start of the Lunar New Year, the Olympic bubble has been sealed off. It's the world's most ambitious quarantine effort. China has set up a closed-loop system stretching more than 100 kilometers. It connects Olympic venues to hotels, keeping them separate from the general population. Beijing residents have been told not to breach the bubble, even if they were to see an Olympic vehicle crash. Athletes and journalists received an 83-page rulebook on the bubble. They had to isolate for 14 days and take daily temperature readings before departing for Beijing.
The U.S. Specialized Forces conducted a raid in northwest Syria on Wednesday. The purpose of the mission was to counter terrorism. The Pentagon claimed the mission to be a success and stated that there were no U.S. casualties, but offered few other details. The Syrian defense said that 13 people were killed in the raid, including 6 children. One resident claimed, quote, "I saw from a distance that there were machine guns shooting back from the ground towards the helicopters." The resident also said he heard a loudspeaker asking people to evacuate the area. He believes the operation ended at 4 a.m. after the explosion stopped.
An eruption occurred Wednesday night at the Fuego volcano in southwestern Guatemala. The volcanic activity increased since 2021 and now tends to erupt every 15 minutes. Hiking at the Fuego volcano is a unique experience that one can seek for $65 a day for a day trip. Many hikers claim that the experience to walk the 2.6-mile out and back across the volcano was worth the risk, but it closed during the pandemic. The tourism site is starting to return to normalcy and opening back up for travelers, but with precautions and restrictions.
A popular brand of salad dressing is being recalled. Conger brand says it's issuing a voluntary recall for some bottles of Wishbone Chunky Blue Cheese dressing and Thousand Island dressing, both containing egg, which is not stated on the product label. The Food and Drug Administration says people who are allergic to eggs risk serious or life-threatening allergic reactions from these products. There are no reports of illness or injury so far. Conger is working to remove the dressings from store shelves. If you've bought the product, you should throw it away. People with any questions or concerns can contact Conger Brands Consumer Care at 1-800-881-3989.
And now let's check on our weather. Ben, what can you tell us?
The temperature was cold this morning, which seems to be our current weather pattern. I will share what the rest of the day will look like and more right after this break.
Wow, college already.
Yeah. We gotta go.
I love you.
I love you too, Daddy. And thanks for everything.
Gratitude. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
That sounds awful. Seriously, awful.
But a lot better than last week.
We weren't born to follow. Final round.
Welcome back. I'm Ben Dudash with your weather. Let's go ahead and take a look at our weather at a glance. Today is rain with a high of 63 and a low of 40, precipitations at 99%, with winds reaching up from 13 to 16 miles per hour going south. Humidity is at 90%, and the dew point's at 48, and the visibility is at 5 miles, and the UV index is 1 of 10. Let's go ahead and take a look at our local radar. Like I said before, showers and rain throughout the entire area, but that's going to change over the week. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our national radar. We got an ice and snowstorm heading straight for Tennessee and throughout the entire southeast area. Now let's go and take a look at our 7-day weather forecast. Friday is cloudy skies with a high of 44 and a low of 23. Saturday, clouds are clearing up with beautiful clear sunny skies with a high of 42 and a low of 23. Sunday, sunny skies are sticking around with a high of 52 and a low of 27. Monday, clouds are partly returning with a high of 52 and a low of 25. Tuesday, clouds are dissipating a little bit with mostly sunny skies with a high of 50 and a low of 26. And Wednesday, clear sunny skies once again with a high of 55 and a low of 30. That's all I have for weather. Here's Eli with your sports.
We have 2 Bradley Central football signings, and I will get to that more after this commercial break.
Well, you're wrong.
I'm wrong. You're the one who misrepresented the facts.
Misrepresent the facts? Are you kidding?
Your proposal's ludicrous.
My proposal will go exactly the way I say it will.
My dead body.
I think somebody needs a timeout.
Oh, that's the power of one.
Civility. Pass it on.
One grain of sand can turn the tide.
I'm the greatest hitter in the world! Strike 1. I'm the greatest hitter in the world! Strike 2. I'm the greatest hitter in the world! Strike 3. Wow! I'm the greatest pitcher in the world! Yes!
Optimism. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Welcome back. I'm Eli Dunn with your sports. The Olympic Games are meant to unify and build bridges between groups in conflict, but there's tensions between Ukraine and Russia mount. Not all Olympic athletes can embrace that message. Ukraine's sport minister said its athletes should stay away from the Russian rivals at the Winter Olympics, and the Ukrainian athletes have been briefed on how to behave in case of provocations. Lydia Gunko, Ukraine's first female bobsledder at the Winter Olympics, tells CNN she's prepared to avoid her Russian counterparts, but Gunko says her family in both Ukraine and Russia will be cheering her on. A former football coach who is suing the National Football League and 3 other teams have racial discrimination says he was offered money to purposely lose games. Brian Flores filed a lawsuit Tuesday against the NFL, the New York Giants, the Denver Broncos, and the Miami Dolphins. While coaching for the Dolphins, Flores alleges owner Stephen Ross offered him $100,000 for each game he would lose. A losing record secures a higher pick in the NFL draft. The 4-time Super Bowl winning coach said his refusal contributed to him being fired last month. The Washington football team officially has a new name. Wednesday, the NFL team announced on social media it will now be named the Washington Commanders, sharing the new name on Twitter with the hashtag #TakeCommandTheCommanders. Also unveiled a new logo which features a Styles W in 2 colors, burgundy with the gold outline and gold with the burgundy outline. The team has been the Washington football team for 2 seasons after changing its name in 2020 from the Redskins due to the term's racist connotations. Several local high school football players put pen to paper on Wednesday on National Signing Day. McCallie had 6 players signed with quarterback William Rindler going to ETSU. East Hamilton also had 6 players signed with receiver Jeremiah Flemings going to Austin Peay. Calhoun had a record 7 players signed on Wednesday, highlighted by Cole receiver Cole Spear going to Georgia. Bradley Central had 2 players signed preferred walk-on scholarships with Carter Howard joining Austin Peay and Josh Helsden joining Tennessee. These were just some of the signings on Wednesday from the Northwest Georgia and the Tennessee Valley. That is all I have for sports. Stay tuned for more news right after this break.
CRCC to me is a calling that God placed on my life to really step out in faith on something that I didn't think I could do, and it's been amazing to see how God's worked through it.
CRCC stands for Crossroads Community Church. But we're a church that our vision is to be a life-giving church in our community. We do that through helping people know God, find freedom, discover their purpose, and then go make a difference. And so that's what we're doing every week, is helping people discover their jam and go make a difference.
I hope the days come easy and the moments pass slow, and each road leads you where you want to go. And if you're faced with a choice and you have to choose, I hope you choose the one that means the most to you. And if one door opens to another door closed, I hope you keep on walking till you find the window. If it's cold outside, show the world the warmth of your smile. But more than anything, more
broke Old Man Hennessy's window.
Correction, dude. You broke. I just threw the ball.
This is really bad. What are we gonna do? Dude, kiss your life goodbye.
Yeah.
Sorry, kid.
Keep smiling, keep shining. No,
Hi. Tell him it was an accident, and we can fix the window. I'll come with you.
that's what friends are for.
Welcome back. A woman in Bellevue, Washington is facing felony charges after pulling a gun on a convenience store worker. He says he threw her out of the store for refusing to wear a mask as required by local rules. As Dundee Sun reports, the whole thing was caught on the store's cameras. Angela Nomanson is charged with felony harassment. She was released from the King County Detention Center last week. Her arraignment is set for February 15th.
As Americans fork over more and more of their income to pay for rising premiums and deductibles on their health insurance, the major insurance companies are raking in record profits. We asked CNN's Gabe Cohen to follow the money and ask where the insurers are putting their profits ahead of patients. As inflation and pandemic hardships weigh on the wallets of Americans, it's part of a bigger debate about healthcare spending, which has soared in recent years. Prices set by providers like hospitals, doctors, and pharmaceutical companies are going up, even as fewer Americans have accessed medical services during the pandemic. Administrative costs alone that make up more than a quarter of U.S. healthcare spending. It is a complex issue that will continue to gain attention.
Several students were arrested after a fight in the Commons area of Cleveland High School during lunch Tuesday. According to Cleveland police, several students were arrested for the following incident. The release says students and potentially more will also face disciplinary consequences that may include suspension or expulsion from school based on the results of the investigation. Thank you to our staff, students, and school resource officers that intervened today to help bring this to an end, says the release.
The accident happened at about 10:30 a.m. at the 1300 block of Gad Road. A police release says the driver of a Jeep was heading east, approaching the intersection at Austin Road. Police say another vehicle pulled onto the roadway. That's what caused the Jeep's driver to hit the brakes and swerve to the right. The Jeep went off the roadway and hit a tree. Both the Jeep's driver and passenger were rushed to the hospital. Police say the unidentified passenger later died from his injuries. No other vehicles were involved.
Wendy's is adding a little spice to its breakfast menu starting next week. The chain is offering a hot honey chicken biscuit. It features a fried chicken cutlet drizzled with honey-infused habanero pepper. The new item, which costs $3.19, is a spicier version of the original honey butter chicken biscuit. Wendy's launched its breakfast menu nearly 2 years ago, but this is the first new addition since then.
Starbucks has been steadily raising prices, but customers don't seem to mind. The coffee chain raised prices in October, then again in January, but Starbucks says this hasn't deterred customers. In the last 3 months, sales jumped 18% in North America and 13% globally. Starbucks hopes this trend continues, and it expects to raise prices again later this year. The company says the new prices help mitigate cost pressures, including inflation and increased wages.
COVID-19 testing is more in demand than ever, and now local school system in Georgia will offer it on site for students and staff. Dalton Public Schools will be among the first in the state to do so. Officials stress that registering for the on-site COVID-19 testing at Dalton Public Schools is optional, never mandatory. The Georgia Department of Health partnered with Mako Medical to offer free COVID testing across the state. Quote, "Our school nurses, Bliss Jones, who works at Dalton High School, made me aware," said Mindy Woods, the Chief of Human Resources for Dalton Public Schools. "We've been in a significant spike, but that is not what has driven the interest in the program. We just want our families to have it available to them if they need it."
A long history of smack talk between some fishing buddies in Minnesota has reached a new level. One of them bought an electronic billboard just to let people know how terrible his friend is at fishing. David V. says there's a tradition of smack talk revolving Troy, who seems to have some sort of angling curse. He's been less successful than previous trips. V says he spent just under $300 for the billboard. They already got dozens of emails, some giving advice, some offering lessons, and others swarming him with even more smack talk. To top this off, this went up the same weekend as Bernard's big fishing tournament, so it's believed 20,000 visitors now know that Troy sucks at fishing. The billboard will be up for 5 days.
Authorities have arrested 4 men in connection to the overdose death of actor and producer Michael K. Williams. Federal prosecutors say they were arrested for allegedly being a part of a drug trafficking organization that sold deadly fentanyl-laced heroin to Williams. Ivorin Cartagena, Hector Robles, and Louis Cruz each face a drug charge that carries up to 40 years in prison. Williams, best known for his role as Omer Little in the HBO's The Wire, was found dead in September at his New York apartment. The medical examiner ruled his death as an accidental overdose. Prosecutors say the 4 men charged in the case kept selling fentanyl-laced heroin, even after learning of Williams' death. Cargenta, who allegedly personally gave Williams the drugs, is also charged with causing the actor's death and faces a minimum sentence of 20 years in prison if convicted.
A Massachusetts man who has spent nearly 3 decades in prison for first-degree murder pleads for a second chance at life. William Allen was locked away for his role in a 1994 robbery where his co-defendant fatally stabbed the victim. The killer was released from prison more than 10 years ago after taking a plea deal. Allen says he will work to be a role model for his son. Governor Charlie Baker commuted the life sentence last month, and the Governor's Council will vote on that commutation in 2 weeks. If it passes, Allen could potentially be set free this summer.
The visit comes less than 2 weeks after 2 New York police officers were fatally shot on the job. Gun violence has emerged as a hot topic as homicides spike across the country. 2020 saw a latest surge on record, with some cities recording more than that a year. Biden is expected to use his trip to urge Congress to pass common sense gun laws. Republicans have seen success using the threat of gun control against Democrats in past elections.
Turkey's President Erdogan calls on all parties to moderate over Russia-Ukrainian crisis. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan called on all parties involved in the Russia-Ukraine crisis to moderate and engage in dialogue ahead of his visit to Kyiv on Thursday. Speaking at an Ankara airport, Erdogan said, "Our relations with Ukraine have come a long ways in areas such as trade, investments, tourism, and defense industry in recent years. We are closely following the tension in the region. We express our support for the territorial integrity of Ukraine on every platform. As a Black Sea country, we invite all parties to be moderate and engage in dialogue in order to maintain peace in the region. I emphasize once again that we are ready to do our part. I pay special attention to the situation of our kins. This issue will also be at the top of the talks in Kyiv. Erdogan is set to meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Kyiv on Thursday. He said Russian President Vladimir Putin has informed he will visit Turkey after his visit to China. It would not be appropriate to think about which stone to put where before the meetings."
We are on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube through our channel BCHS Vox News.
You will also find more online at our website, voxnews.net.
Remind your friends to like, subscribe, share, and tune in.
You just cannot get enough of Vox.
That's all we have for you today from Studio H12 at Bradley Central.
And as always,
God bless and go Bears!